International.
Okay, so hello. I think I was waiting to see if others would join, but from the look of things, maybe they'll join later. But we still have to proceed and see where we are. So yes, today is Wednesday, and welcome to another exciting intelligence seminar where we are looking at things that can worry us in the digital space. And I hope you guys are listening and you guys can hear me, right? So, can I be heard? All right, so let's look at our shadow. So our shadow is mainly into two parts, or this seminar is mainly into two parts where we are looking at our video awareness training, and then we are looking at our presentation or cybersecurity practical or something that we can learn to enhance ourselves when it comes to cyberspace or when it comes to cybersecurity. And that is why we are here. So not to waste much time, I would proceed to the first session where we are going to look at our video awareness training. So let's look at that and then let's see what happens. And with the video awareness training, okay, and with the video awareness training, it's all about we watching the video and looking at what this animated video will tell us, and then we will learn from it because we need to stay ahead or we need to be cautious of things that happen in terms of digital space, cybersecurity, business, and things. And we are here to learn. We are here to control ourselves. We are here to get to know a little bit of things that can go against us in the cyberspace. And that is why we are here. But just that others are supposed to be joining us, but they are not here yet. But so this is we proceed and we look at our first session. That's our video awareness stream. So I'll share my screen and I'll play this video. I'll play this video 2 times. And when we are done, we would answer a few questions about this particular video. So just stay attentive and watch this particular video. If there are any questions or when you have any issue or challenges following the video, just draw my attention to that. But aside that, let's let's look at. Okay, just give me a minute, I'm coming.
The National Association of Plan Advisors stated that the number of retirement account hacks has seen an increase of 300% in recent years, with criminals moving away from payment card fraud to focus on retirement and investment accounts.
Hi, Janet.
Celeste, good to see you again. Well, after 25 years with us, I'm sure you're looking forward to retirement. Unfortunately, I've had a chance to look at your investments, and I think you're still a few years away.
You do? But
Here, how about I show you what I've worked up? You can see, based on these projections, the time frames show.
wait, why does it say I only have $50,000 in my 401k? I should have over 200,000 in that account.
Well, in reviewing your accounts, I did notice several loans taken out against the 401k. Loans that brought the balance down dramatically in recent months. Once those are paid back,
Loans? I never took out any loans.
Are you sure?
Well, of course I'm sure.
I think I might have an idea about what's going on here. You see, I recently received a cybersecurity newsletter that included a case similar to this, where the account holder's email was taken over by hackers. In fact, the scam is even called email account takeover. Once the hackers got inside, they started digging through the victim's email folders until they found her 401k folder. By snooping around, the hackers were able to figure out that the victim's 401k is managed by WPQ Investments. The hacker set up a rule in the victim's email account which caused any email coming from the domain wpqinvestments.com to automatically get forwarded to them and get deleted from the victim's inbox, thereby keeping the victim in the dark about what was going on.
I never realized email rules could be used maliciously.
Don't feel bad. Most people don't. And once the hackers created the new email rules, they performed a password reset on her 401k account. The password reset email went to the victim's email account, but was then automatically forwarded to the hackers using the rules they set up. They then reset the victim's password and started the process of gradually taking small loans against her 401k, eventually draining the account.
And you're saying this is what's happened to me?
It's certainly a possibility, which is why it's so important to routinely check the balances and transactions within your retirement or investment accounts. I'd also encourage you to take a look at your rule set for your email account to see if anything looks suspicious. Anyway, let's not worry just yet. In the case I referred to, the victim got all her money back. I'll call WPQ's fraud department and get this reported immediately.
Okay, thank you.
The National Association of Plan Advisors stated that the number of retirement account hacks has seen an increase of 300% in recent years, with criminals moving away from payment card fraud to focus on retirement and investment accounts.
Hi, Janet.
Celeste, good to see you again. Well, after 25 years with us, I'm sure you're looking forward to retirement. Unfortunately, I've had a chance to look at your investments, and I think you're still a few years away.
You do? But
Here, how about I show you what I've worked up? You can see, based on these projections, the time frames show.
wait, why does it say I only have $50,000 in my 401k? I should have over 200,000 in that account.
Well, in reviewing your accounts, I did notice several loans taken out against the 401k. Loans that brought the balance down dramatically in recent months. Once those are paid back,
Loans? I never took out any loans.
Are you sure?
Well, of course I'm sure.
I think I might have an idea about what's going on here. You see, I recently received a cybersecurity newsletter that included a case similar to this, where the account holder's email was taken over by hackers. In fact, the scam is even called email account takeover. Once the hackers got inside, they started digging through the victim's email folders until they found her 401k folder. By snooping around, the hackers were able to figure out that the victim's 401k is managed by WPQ Investments. The hacker set up a rule in the victim's email account which caused any email coming from the domain wpqinvestments.com to automatically get forwarded to them and get deleted from the victim's inbox, thereby keeping the victim in the dark about what was going on.
I never realized email rules could be used maliciously.
Don't feel bad. Most people don't. And once the hackers created the new email rules, they performed a password reset on her 401k account. The password reset email went to the victim's email account, but was then automatically forwarded to the hackers using the rules they set up. They then reset the victim's password and started the process of gradually taking small loans against her 401k, eventually draining the account.
And you're saying this is what's happened to me?
It's certainly a possibility, which is why it's so important to routinely check the balances and transactions within your retirement or investment accounts. I'd also encourage you to take a look at your rule set for your email account to see if anything looks suspicious. Anyway, let's not worry just yet. In the case I referred to, the victim got all her money back. I'll call WPQ's fraud department and get this reported immediately.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so yes, welcome back from this exciting video where we are looking at email account takeover. So as we've watched the video, let's proceed and let's take the quiz. Let's see how best we understood this particular video of how attackers can get to us using our emails. So I would be reading the questions and please provide me with the answers. Okay. So first questions, I think the first 3, 4 questions are true or false statements. So I'll read the questions and then you give me the answers. All right, perfect. Question number 1, true or false? If your email account is compromised by a hacker, they can create rules to forward your emails to another address. True or false? What do you think the answer is? Is it true or false? So we have true from Keck. Anybody else? Or we have a different answer? If you have a different answer, just let us know and tell us why you have a different answer. Or else we'll move forward. Okay. All right. So question number 2, also a true or false statement. It is possible for hackers to apply for loans using your identity if they've collected enough of your personal information. True or false? What do you think? The answer is to question number 2. So we have true, another true statement here. Okay. All right. Let's look at question number 3. It is important to routinely check the balances and transactions within your retirement or investment accounts. True or false? Based on the video we watched, is it true or false? So we have another true. Okay, perfect. Then let's see question number 4. In order to avoid having your personal account compromised, you should, the first option says, check your email rules periodically to ensure that there are no unexpected changes. The second one says enable 2FA, that's two-factor authentication, for logging into your online account whenever possible. The third one says review your financial accounts for suspicious activities at least once per month. The last one says all of the above. Anybody? What do you think the answer to question number 4 is?
I'm not sure about the first, second is correct, but I'm not sure about the third one.
Okay. So review your financial account for suspicious activity at least once per month. So if you have a bank and you use a bank, you could go into your bank account to see the details of your bank account to see if there's something going on. Maybe there might be an order or a purchase that you didn't buy or you didn't sanction, and you might see them in your bank details. So you must review your financial accounts. I believe that once the first 2 are correct and this option is also part, then the best thing that you can go for is all of the above. So looking at this, I will select all of the above and let's look at this. So let's complete the quiz and let's see. All right, so all of the above was the correct one and we got everything 100%. Now, we have learned that our financial accounts can be used. Attackers can come into our accounts as long as they get access to our emails, they compromise our emails, they can take over our emails, learn from our emails to see the financial account that we have, and they can even go ahead and reset, do a password reset if you don't have 2FA. So you must enable 2 2FA so that this doesn't become an issue. And as we are talking about 2FA, or as we are seeing 2FA, today we are going to look at that aspect in cybersecurity. We are going to look at the AAA system in cybersecurity. That's something that you should know, and why it is important for us to know about the AAA system, because we talk about 2FA, we talk about secure your account, talk about protect your account. But why? Why do you have to do that? And what even makes the AAA system work? What is even the AAA system about? That is what we are going to look at today. So when we talk about cybersecurity, we know cybersecurity is about protecting our data, our systems, protecting our network, protecting our information, protecting our computers from unauthorized people, or from attacks from people, from somebody who would want to go against something that we call the CIA of everything I'm talking about. So the CIA, C meaning confidentiality, I integrity, and A is availability. Somebody would want to go against all these things, against our systems, against our information, against our networks, and so on and so forth. Now, how do we make sure that the right people have right access to our systems, our information? And even if we do, how do we keep track of these people, what they do in an account? And all these things lies under the AAA system. So we are going to be talking about the AAA system, where each one and what it is. So the AAA system, the A, or the first A is authentication, the second one is authorization, and the last A is accounting. So AAA. Some people might say auditing for the accounting aspect. So A is authentication, B is authorization, and the third A is accounting. That is something that you need to know. Now, whenever we are doing things, whenever we are going into our account, whenever we are logging into things, all these things are in place, but maybe we don't actually take, or we don't actually know what is in place. All we have to know is that once you are going to a place, that you have to verify yourself. So as we verify you, you go into the place. So if, let's say, you are going into a building, there will be somebody or a security person in front of the particular building. This person would check and see if you're allowed to enter. So this person will confirm your ID, check and see if you're supposed to come into the building. Once you log in, or once the person gives you permission, you say, okay, you are allowed to go to room 3, because that is where we are having the meeting. So let's say it's a conference that we are having at this particular hotel, right? And you have to pass through security. So security will be like, okay, the meeting is at room 3, our conference room 5. That's where you're going. So the first part is you entering. The second part is where you're supposed to go, where you're allowed to go. And as you go to, let's say, conference room 3, they are checking whatever you do in conference room 3 to see if everything is intact. You are not going to a conference room to cause trouble. You are going to a conference room just to listen, participate. Whatever you are doing in the conference room, we get to also take notice. And that is what the AAA system is all about. So the authentication, that's where you prove to this security person that you are coming for this conference. That is the authentication aspect. The authorization would define what you are allowed to do, where you are allowed to go in that particular building or in that hotel. The accountant will record what you are doing or what you do when you went to conference with me. And that is the idea of that. Now, authentication is something that we are used to, something that we know. When you talk about authentication, it's the idea of verifying ourselves. How do we verify ourselves? We verify ourselves using different mechanisms or different factors. But the idea of authentication is that you are going to some place. Right? They are saying, you say you claim to be who you are. You see, the system knows you. The system will be like, okay, if you say you are who you are, then log in or provide us something that we know or something that we both have agreed on so that you can come into the building. So whenever you are logging into your social media account, you claim that this social media account belongs to you. That social media platform will be like, okay, if this account belongs to you and this username belongs to you, then prove to us that this username belongs to you. And that is where you will type in your password. The moment you type in your password and the password is correct, that's the idea of authentication. So we have different types, we have different ways or different systems and its own authentication factors. But the authentication that we know, the authentication that we commonly use are the ones where we are logging into an account, the ones where we are logging into a system, the ones we are logging into a device, and they tell us to prove ourselves. They tell us to verify our identity. And we have methods that we use to do that. So the methods include the knowledge base, that is what we commonly know, or what we use. The knowledge base is something you know. So the factors are mostly three factors. Something you know is something you keep in your head. That is the basic thing that we normally use. So password, it is something that you keep in your head. So passwords become something you know. A PIN is something you know, because whenever you are going into you are logging into the account, they will tell you to provide that thing you know. You know your password or you know your PIN. So if you know your PIN, the system also knows your PIN. So put it in and let's see if it matches. So you do that, you put it in, and if it matches, the system will allow you to enter. And the downside of password and PINs is that attackers target these things. Attackers can guess passwords if they are not strong. Attackers can steal passwords. They can use different mechanisms to get access to a password if it is not strong, right? Then we have something in your possession, something you have, possession based. You can use that to verify yourself. Whenever you go to these modern hotels, they will give you this security card that when you are going to your room, show this card against the door and the door will open for you. That thing, you have it in possession. So as you have it in possession, it means that you can log in with that. And that is something that you have. So something that you have can come in the form of a smart card, a security token. It can also be an app that you have on your phone. That's you have this peculiar app on your phone. Whenever you are logging in, they will say, we have sent you an OTP on your Samsung S24. Go into your S24 and pick this particular pin because the system knows the phone you are using. You entered or you've added the phone you are using into that account. And the system is saying, okay, use that particular phone. Pick a code from that peculiar phone and use that phone to log in to verify that it's you. That is something that you have. And then we have something that you are. With something that you are, it is about your genetic makeup. So with something that you are, it's all about your physical qualities. The physical qualities being your fingerprints. Your physical qualities being your facial recognition. So if you are verifying yourself with your thumbprints, with your facial ID, then that factor you are using is something that you are, something that you are as a person. So with modern mobile phones, you are allowed to enter your mobile phone with your fingerprints, with your facial ID, and so many things. You see, and when you choose that or when you log in with that, it is something that you have as a factor of authentication, something that you are as a factor of authentication. So these are the three major factors of authentication or three major ways you can use to verify yourself across platforms. across systems and across devices. And all these things, we use them either on our laptops or on our mobile phones to make sure that people do not come in our mobile phones just like that to do whatever they want. To provide, to make sure that our data and everything is private. There's privacy on our devices. Nobody can just take our phones and go to our picture. Nobody can just take our phones and send messages because we have these things in place. That is the first thing, authentication. Now, when we talk about multi-factor authentication, this is where we are looking at different factors. So with multi-factor authentication, when you combine two or more authentication factors, then you will say MFA. So 2FA is 2. MFA is more than 2. So if before you log into an account, you need your password, you need your fingerprints, and you also need an SMS code, then we say multi-factor authentication is in place. So if you are logging into our Gmail account where you need our username, we need our password, and we need an OTP sent to our mobile phone, we could say MFA is in place. You see, MFA is there to combat against weak and reuse passwords. Because even if somebody gets your password, even if there was a mistake or through social engineering attacks, you give your password out to somebody, the person cannot still fully access your account. Because if the person provides your password, the person must provide biometrics. And I'm not sure phishing, they can use phishing to get your thumbprints. It would be difficult for them to get your thumbprint. So the person would still have difficulty in logging into your account. That is what it is. So we are putting different layers of security before you get into the account. So multi-factor authentication goes against brute forcing, dictionary attack, all these things, phishing, and malware, all these things. If the passwords are compromised, still the account might be secure because the person wouldn't have access to the facial recognition scan or your biometrics or so on and so forth. And that is authentication aspect in cybersecurity, the first A. Now, the second A is authorization. Authorization will look at what you are allowed to access, what you can do with that account after you've logged in. So after you have been authenticated, after you've verified yourself, what can you do? What are you allowed to do? What is the system saying that you should do? So if the security man has allowed me into the building and is telling me that I am supposed to only go to room 3, out of this big building, I am allowed to go into room 3, that is authorization. It is telling me that it is room 3 that I have permissions to do, that I have the ability to do anything in room 3 or to go into room 3, and that is authorization. The idea of authorization is we are looking at the action, we are looking at the resources that you are allowed to access, what you are allowed to do in that particular account you've logged into. And we have types of authorization that will give you permission based on a few things. So the first one is role-based access control. So they are giving you access into your system based on your roles. So if it is a business, if it's an organization, every worker will log in. Every worker will log in with their username and their password as the authentication aspect. After you've logged in, we are giving you access to the account based on your role in the organization. So some or somebody might have access to financials. Somebody might have access to systems and servers. Somebody will have access to documents and legal. Somebody will also have access to complaints and all these things, all because of the role-based access control. So access is even based on the user's role, depending on what you do in the organization. So if you're an admin, you can do more. If you're a user, you can only log in, you can only do minimum. You see, so an admin controls most of the things. An admin can remove you. This is just like we are in a WhatsApp group and we have administrators. Administrators can take you out of the group. Now, if you post something, the administrator can delete it for the whole group, and you become the user. The administrator can delete everybody, can remove everybody. The administrator can even close the group and delete everything. You see, and that is based on your role in that particular group. That is what you can do, or that's what you are assigned to do. And then we also have another access control based on an attribute. So we are looking at multiple things. So an attribute-based control will not only look at one thing like your role. No, it will look at where you find yourself in that organization at a time of the day, or even location, or even your even the device that you are using. All these things can be part of the attribute-based access control. So let's say that you only have permissions to do this at the exact time. If the timing is wrong, you don't have permission to do that. So a staff member can only access financial records during these hours when this person is connected to the company network. So if you are not connected to the company network, you don't get access to that. If you are not in that particular time, you don't get access to that. So it means that if you're in a different location, if you are somewhere on attacker being in a different location, this person cannot access these files, or this person cannot do this on the system. All these things are there to restrict people, to make sure that the CIA that I said earlier is intact. So the account that you've logged in, you don't just do anything in the account. We are looking at a lot of attributes to make sure that you will be given permissions if you match these qualities. You are connected to the company network. Okay. You are connecting at this time frame. Okay. And you are a staff member. So if it's marketing, if you're under marketing, you get to see things about marketing. Once you are connected to the company's network at these particular hours, that is the attribute-based access control. Then we have discretional, and then we have mandatory. Now, the discretional access control, we are looking at the owner of the system telling you that, or the owner of the system will decide who has access. So with the discretional access control, nobody has access. If you log in, the owner of the file will say, okay, I'm giving you the permission to just read. You will not do anything else to that. You just read the document. You can't do anything else about that. That is the discretional access control. So the resource owner will decide who has access. So if this is a file in our company, and maybe this file is, let's say, or let me put it like this. Maybe this file is a medical information. You can just decide that only the doctor get access to this particular file, not even the nurse, not even the person who works at the front desk, not even um, a security person. Only the doctor has access to a medical record. He's the only person I will allow to discuss my medical record with. That is the discretionary access control. And then we have the mandatory access control, mostly used by higher level and mostly used by militaries and government agencies. All those things, they will say that this information is classified. This information is top secret. This information is confidential based on your role. So if you are head of the CIA, and then you get access. If you're just a user in the CIA, no, it's above your pay grade. This information, you're not allowed to see it. You're not allowed to go there. They are part of the network, or they are part of the system that you're not allowed to. Your rank does not give you permission to go and read these government information. You go and read these documents, and that is what it is. Then there's one principle that we have to always achieve, or that one principle that, as it would be cybersecurity professionals, we must make sure that our developers and our IT administrators might put in place. And that is the principle of the least privilege. With the principle of the least privilege, you make sure that everybody, every user should only be given the minimum access needed to perform their task. So if you are a nurse, the only thing you need to do as a nurse on a system, we are giving that into you, only you. The minimum thing you require. So maybe as a nurse, you are supposed to see patients' vitals only, and maybe patients' uh, information, maybe their let's say the blood group, all those things, so that if there's an emergency and the doctors are not there, you could, offer first aid, or you could make sure that person is stable. Those things. So if you're a nurse, you're only given the minimum access that you need to perform your task. If you are a doctor, this is what you need. If you are an administrator, this is what you need. So an administrator will only get access to, let's say, your billing information, to let's say your the cost of your product or the cost of things that you came to the hospital to do. Right? A nurse will only see those vitals. A doctor can go ahead and see more things than the nurse. So all these things is all about the principle of the least privilege, so that you would reduce the risk of misuse or exploitation. People don't go wayward. People don't go overboard. You are not supposed to see it. You are not supposed to go here. You don't give this person that access. You are only giving the things you need to do your task, to do your job in the organization or after you've logged in. So authentication and authorization. So authentication comes first, because you have to verify before you are given access. If you verify yourself, you can't. It will tell you what you are supposed to get, the one you are not supposed to get, what you are supposed, or what permissions you have, or the thing that you can do and the thing that you can't do. So that is the principle of the least privilege. And then you will look at the final one under accounting. So we are looking at the triple A system. The first one being authentication, the second one being authorization, and the last one in the triple A is accounting, where we are keeping track of whatever you're doing. So now that you verified yourself, now that we are giving you permissions of what to do, we are trying to see if you will do that. We want to see what the user is doing. So the idea of accounting and the idea is that we are keeping track of what the user is doing, of what we are giving you permissions to do. So we answer the question, what did the user do? So at the end of the day, you came to the company, you logged in, you have given access to do what you did. Did you do it at the end of the day? And that is the idea of accounting, or some will say auditing. So here, we are keeping logs of everything. We are keeping logs of everything to see what time you logged in. We are keeping logs to see what you did on the system. Did you make changes on the system? Did you enter some folders to retrieve something? So all the system events, everything, you can see them under the logging. So you make sure we log every activity, and then you review these logs to make sure that you are doing the things they are supposed to do. You review this log to see if this person is not going wayward, this person is not going to places this person is supposed to go. So you have been given access to just see vitals of patients. Why do you want to go ahead? Why do you want to try and find out more information that you're not supposed to? Why is this particular account going into places that this person is supposed to, or trying to go into places that this account is not supposed to do? You can just say maybe somebody, or maybe it is a malicious intent. Somebody has logged in and is trying to do something. You see, and we can also report when an incident happens, when we are trying to find out more, and even for compliance, for rules and regulations, you need to provide some compliance about, what each person is doing. We could make a report in that, oh, this worker came to work and logged in at 8 o'clock, and these are the activities this worker did at the end of the day or at the end of the week. This will make sure that our systems are secure. This will make sure that if this worker was doing something unusual on the system, is trying to use their account to log in and do something else, we will see it because we are logging every incident, every major incident. We are logging that, and that is the idea of accounting. So if maybe this user tried to log in at night, maybe as part of the company, everybody can log in maybe at night. Everybody can log in anytime. But this user logged in at night, and this user was downloading a lot of information. This user was doing a lot of things that night. We could go in and ascertain what this person is doing at the end of the day. If there's something fishy going on, in this particular person trying to do something malicious on our system, then we would find out more and then we could go ahead, either close the system, either make sure we keep track, either make sure that this person doesn't go overboard. The idea of accounting is to make sure that we get to account, we get to audit, we get to see at the end of the day what this user did. Okay, so bringing the AAA system, we know that the AAA system stands for authentication, the first one. The second A is authorization. The third A is accounting. So authentication will ensure that authentication will ensure that you confirm and verify your identity. Authorization will seek to make sure that you have proper access to what you're supposed to do. Now, accounting will monitor and record everything you do in that system. And that is the idea of the AAA system. So, this student analogy, if you are going into a school or if you are going to write exams, you need to provide your ID at the gate. Once you provide your ID at the gate, that is authentication. Now, you can only access your own student portal, so your own account, because of your ID. Your ID is linked to your own account, so your own account is where you get to do things in. As you are in your student portal, we will say authorization, but you are allowed to go into that particular part. You're not allowed to go into anybody's account. You're not allowed to go into any the administrator's account, the person who manages everything. No, you are only allowed to go into your own account. Then we will look at the accounting. We are checking to see the things you are doing on a student portal at the end of the day. If you are saying to submit assignments, deadline day, you could check the time you came in to submit the assignment. If it was a test on the student portal, you could see the time you came in to do that. And that is accounting. So checking and making sure that you did what you're supposed to do in that particular account. That is accounting. The AAA system is important. It is something that we do most of the time. It is something that makes sure that we only allow the right people to come in. And even with the right people, we give them what they need to do or the minimum required they need to work with. And then we can also keep track and verify these people across our account. So all our social media, all our company networks, everything that we do, mostly we have to log in first, we have to authenticate ourselves first, and then we are authorized to do things and we monitor our activities at the end of the day. So this is where we are going to end today's lecture or seminar on the AAA. And as we do that, we are bringing today's entire seminar to a close. Any questions before we leave here? Okay, if there are no questions, then we will end this seminar here. And I would like
Hey, Security Pro, ready to defend the digital realm? Cybercrime is escalating and companies need skilled cybersecurity experts. Join SoftAfrique Group, a top IT company, and kickstart your career with our 16-week online cybersecurity course. Learn from the best. Our course, crafted by expert cybersecurity professionals, gives you hands-on skills with cutting-edge tools like Wireshark, Metasploit, Nmap, Burp Suite, and more. No prior experience? No problem. We guide you every step of the way. Gain real-world experience with your own virtual computer. Practice in a safe, simulated environment, tackling cyber threats, securing networks, and mastering ethical hacking techniques. We don't just teach you skills, we prepare you for success. Our team helps you craft a standout resume and ace your interviews, ensuring you land your dream job in cybersecurity. Don't wait for cyber threats to strike. Become the solution. Enroll in SoftAfrique Group's 16-week cybersecurity course today and start your journey to a high-paying career. Visit portal.softafrique.net to sign up now. Call for the USA +15029667638 and for Ghana +2332687888884.